Without availability of electricity, there is a lot of things you cannot do. But electricity was created by somebody, and we can create more. And today we have many ways which you cannot even give an excuse that we are lacking to promote our innovations because this and this is lacking. So it is only time to commit, to get connected, and that's why Hoja platform came alive, to circle, interact, and connect each other. Now, in this summit, let me announce you that we are going to have an agenda of commitment. It is a document which will summarize the resolutions, practical solutions we talked about during the 4-day summit. This one, everyone is going back home to implement one thing, one takeaway, which have inspired you. It means you are seated here, the only assignment you have is to listen, to engage the audience, to also give your opinions and suggestions. And going back home, if you have an initiative, please try to learn something and go back implement. And the Hoja platform will connect you and will accompany you to make sure your dream becomes a reality. The other thing before I finish is that all of us, though we are here, we have lost one thing, the African identity. This morning, let me make you laugh. One of the Hoja Secretariat members, she went to the gate to get an international delegate. And then they requested, what is the name of the person you are going to get? She didn't manage to pronounce the African name. I requested, what's the name? It is Bishagari something. Bishagari something, it means she couldn't even pronounce the really African name. And then I requested her, can you not pronounce the Christian name or the white name? She said, oh, that is simple, I can pronounce the white name. So, this shows how much we have lost African identity. It means the pride of being African is going away from us. And there is no day we shall change where we're born. Still, it is our home. We need to cherish that home, and we need to build that home. Now, this one summarizes only one thing. The Africa we want starts from us. The African we want starts today. The African we want is within our DNA, and we cannot go away from it. That's why we come together to unite and cherish the Africa we need to see. And our future doesn't start tomorrow. It starts today, and we need to walk through that journey. I want to finish my speech by saying this. There is a lot of hope, and I see innovation, Africa becoming the great hub of innovation 20 years from now. Because we have seen where the world is going, and we are the only continent with amazing potential and opportunities which can give a new hope to the world. Now, number one, there are 3 young people who are here. They are small companies. They want to start making airplanes. Can you clap for them? There are 2 young people who are here. They have great plans. One of it is to start bringing solution softwares. Can you clap for them? Among the people who are seated here, we have 3 presidents. Can you wipe the audience, whoever wants to become a president, maybe 20 years from now? Can you clap for them? I'm the 5th. I've seen 4. I'm the 5th. I'm going to be the president of Congo by 2041. Yeah? And I'm ready, I'm prepared. VC have prepared me enough. AD have prepared me enough. And all the people have contributed. Now, I'll not finish my speech without telling you that we have many people who have brought many things alive. I wanted to recognize a few organizations which have made amazing work. They are not around. So I have to pass through that one. Now, the only thing we need, it is what we call implementation. In African Union, as you know, we have 54 countries. The head of state, they go there, they give nice plans, they talk nice talks, but at the end there is one lack, that is implementation. And always we blame them. But even us on our own, as young people, we implement almost nothing. And we try our best. Now, the emphasis for Hoja is to see that we can unlock that limitation of implementation. If today we can decide to start implementing whatever idea we have, we are going to make this Africa succeed. My last one will be to to congratulate Professor Amos Njuguna, who have given his time, knowledge, beautiful guidance, and wisdom to make Hoja Summit happen. Clap for him. I'm finishing. Prof, thank you so much. You have made it. I'm finishing by congratulating my own father. You can wipe the crowd. He's the brother to my father. Yeah? Now, he dedicated to leave all his companies, the work he does, and he said, I'm coming to impact and learn from young people and contribute to my wisdom. Can you again clap for him? One incredible thing, it is the University of Africa Unity. Is that okay? Yeah? Africa University. This is the university which is teaching Pan-Africanism and the real identity of Africa. And this has been introduced by Robert Mugabe. Even though many people, they don't agree with Robert Mugabe, this is the man who has continued to say Africa must be Africa and we must make Africa what. And the man, before he dies, he has dedicated the entire country to become like him. And up to now, that's the only Pan-African countries which is continuing to continue the mission which started in the 1960s. Now, I'm concluding by saying, you are most welcome all. Let's engage. Let's look for solutions. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Isaac. We therefore invite Professor Njuguna, our patron. I prefer calling him our patron because 7 a.m. he has made me know what time really means. So I will not take his time. Professor Amos, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Eddie. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning again. Good morning. It's my pleasure to... Okay, thank you, Eddie. It's actually, I'm so excited to be here. As Eddie says, we've been working with them, and they've learned the art of early morning meetings. Every Wednesday, 7 a.m. We have to have discussions to be able to see how the planning is coming on within all that, within that schedule. Now, I would want to welcome everyone to USIU, maybe by a show of hands for our guest who is here for the very first time. Oh, we've got a couple of you, and it will be my pleasure to welcome the Vice Chancellor to actually mention a few things to you. So our key guest, Dr. Richard Nan, Vice Chancellor, Professor Paul Tiabe Zereza, the coordinating team of Hoja, as well as the invited delegates. It's my pleasure to welcome you around and make just 2-3 remarks so that I leave a lot for my Vice Chancellor to say. So many of the remarks regarding the university I will say so that the Vice Chancellor can say that. So we are excited because this is one of the events that is fully student organized and prepared. Our work has been mostly to slow down. I've been mentioning to Isaac, our work has been to slow them down because they are always running up and down trying to organize everything. But I am very proud of them because as a university, we believe in the youth. We believe that it is you who are supposed to wake up and do things on your own with minimum guidance from us. And this is a manifestation that we do have today. The Hoja Summit brings about a number of activities that you will be sharing today. Included in that is a critical discussion of the main challenges that affect Africa and to see how youth can cheer up and come up to seek and provide solutions to the problems that are facing us. Many of us are just at the helm, and what we are doing is simply to shepherd. But we strongly believe that these solutions will come from the youth themselves. Now, before I mention what we do in this space, I want to challenge all of us. And Isaac, I mentioned to him, with Professor Mulingi, and I was saying that possibly this summit also needs to take a small detour and actually ask ourselves, will we achieve all this without time management? In the register, about 300, actually slightly above 300 have registered to attend. And as Dr. Munang put it, this African time that has 60 hours in a day, when will it come to an end? Because we sat here, all of us were here on time, but then we are saying we expected 300 youths who signed up, committed to a cause because they signed up to actually come in. Possibly, one of the things that we should start talking about and which could prevent us from getting the much needed solutions is our behavior, and do we do exactly what we promised to do? If I go online, for example, and sign in and say, I will be attending, and someone plans for me, why would it be that almost 2 hours after the time that I signed to attend, I haven't showed up and I haven't sent apologies? Possibly this should form a discussion. Kindly leave this to our generation. Is it okay? I'm just posing a challenge. Just leave this to our generation. The Africa we want to see driven by the youth. We want to see an Africa that is cautious of time, that is working on solutions, and that is talking the walk. As a university, we strongly believe in that. I will just mention one thing that we are doing. I know my Vice Chancellor will give it a more broader picture of what we are doing. But as we speak right now, we are impacting on about 1,638 youths who are out of school and not in employment as a university. And how are we impacting on them? Through action. As we speak, we are in 4 different counties right now. In 4 different counties where we have taken these youths and within an elaborate program where these guys will initially go through a life skills training, and that is what gives me hope. Just the day before yesterday, I was in Kitui, and I met a young man who was telling me that you guys are God-sent. I have been thinking through, and I've been thinking that there is no way out for me other than possibly I just move out of this world, but having spoken to one of your mentors has really encouraged me. And that is what keeps us going. So these guys will be taken through life skills training. After that, we take them through some critical business skills, and then hand them over to government for an elaborate technical training. Those guys, they may not be as privileged as we are with education because they are mostly out of school and out of jobs. And eventually what will happen is that over a period of 6 months, they will be transitioned to acquire technical education and then placed and matched with the right people in the industry. So as a university, we not only talk, we not only help students to organize forums like this, but we also go deep down to where we are needed most. And that is actually just one of the initiatives that we are doing along this space. So as youths, my point is, reach out to others. As youths, wake up. You believe it. Preach what you believe now to those who are not yet converted. That's what we say, right? Preach it out to those who are not yet converted. Let everyone take action. Let us move from talking. Let us get practical solutions. Let us get everyone involved and let us challenge everyone to make a difference, not just for the youth, but also for the disadvantaged, to solve the many problems that we do have in the continent. Now, with those, I felt I needed to say that although my job was very simple, to invite the Vice Chancellor. So I will now want to invite the Vice Chancellor, who will tell you more about our institution, especially for those of us who are here for the very first time, and very importantly, also expound on what we are doing and also challenge you to walk through the right path. So with that, kindly allow me to welcome our Vice Chancellor, Professor Paul Tiabe Zeleza.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Yeah, it's a little loud, isn't it? First of all, let me thank the organizers, the team that organized the first Hoja Summit here at USIU. As we heard earlier, this has been going on for the last year. And we in the university administration, among faculty, staff, and of course students at large, we're very delighted that it has come to fruition today. And we also want to welcome very warmly the presenters that will be sharing their ideas with us. And that includes obviously our keynote speaker, Dr. Richard Munam. What I'll try to share with you, just a few things, a few thoughts, building on what the Dean just said. First of all, why I think this summit is very important. It is very important because you are discussing pressing issues about this continent. When I looked at the initial concept, we had a chance to discuss it, and of course it has come to where it is now in the program. You are tackling all the major economic, social, political, and developmental issues that this continent faces. So the scope of your deliberations is quite impressive. The other point I just want to make very quickly is the importance of youth. You are Africa's largest demographic group. 60% of Africans today are below the age of 25. So you constitute the largest cohort ever in African history. Think for a moment, you're the largest generation in the entire history of this continent. And therefore, the burden on you is heavy. This continent will either rise or fall based on what you do. Previous generations have done their best, and of course have also failed in achieving the dreams of African nationalism, namely development, democracy, self-determination. That historic burden and those historic dreams lie on your shoulders. As of last year, Africa had 17% of the world's population. By 2050, we're going to have 25% of the world's population, or 2.2 billion people. By the end of this century, Africa will have 40% of the world's population on current projections. 4.4 billion people. If this explosion of our population is going to result in a demographic dividend rather than a demographic disaster, depends on what your generation is going to do. Because those future Africans are going to be your children and grandchildren. So what you do now is extremely important for the rest of this century for the continent. I just want to talk very briefly about Pan-Africanism and the challenge that also faces your generation. Pan-Africanism, as you know, is a dream for African unity, for African empowerment in the global concert of cultures, of communities, of civilizations. That dream, that struggle for unity has been going on for several centuries. It started in the diaspora among African descended peoples in the Americas and elsewhere, including Europe. And Pan-Africanism is what incubated African nationalisms on the continent. All the key African post-independence leaders were members or were educated in terms of their politics by Pan-Africanism. Kwame Nkrumah, the great founder president of Ghana. Our own Kenyatta, Jomo Kenyatta, and the list can go on, were members actively involved in Pan-Africanism. The great Kenyan intellectual, Ali Mazrui, who unfortunately left us a few years ago, analyzed Pan-Africanism in terms of different versions of Pan-Africanism. He identified 5, and some of us are built on his work. And in my own work, I identified 6 versions of Pan-Africanism. And I want to ask you to reflect on all these versions and how you can promote the last one. The first version of Pan-Africanism was what is called transatlantic Pan-Africanism. The movement that involved Africans in the diaspora and Africans on the continent, led by people like W.B. Joyce, the great African-American intellectual and activist. They held a series of Pan-African congresses, the last one in the diaspora being held in 1945, where all the key post-independence leaders, Kenyatta, Banda of Malawi, Nkrumah of Kenya, all of them were at that Congress. And that's when they decided they were going to fight for independence now, no longer fight for reform in the colonial system. That transatlantic Pan-Africanism gave way to 2 other versions. One was continental Pan-Africanism that you see in the formation of the Organization of African Unity in 1963. That is the predecessor, of course, of the African Union. And then on the other side of the Atlantic, we began to see the growth of what some people have called the Black Atlantic. And that separation between the Black Atlantic and continental Africa had a lot to do with changes taking place in both parts of the African world. And then, of course, on the continent itself, the continental Pan-Africanism was also overlaid by regional forms of Pan-Africanism. Sub-Saharan, you hear a lot of people talk of Sub-Saharan Africa, as well as it has a very unfortunate origin, by the way. Personally, I don't use Sub-Saharan in my intellectual work, because it was created out of a racist conception that Africa is not one, but there is a separation between people with dark skin on this continent and people with lighter skin on this continent. It's a very racist concoction. But we have unfortunately come to use it even in our own thinking. And of course, Pan-Arabism. The majority of Arab-speaking peoples live in Africa. They don't live in the so-called Middle East. People forget that. So you find sub-Saharan identities or projects and Pan-Arab identities and projects, overlaying and contesting the continental Pan-Africanism. The final version of Pan-Africanism that I'd like to challenge your generation to focus on is global Pan-Africanism. Global Pan-Africanism entails the unity all African peoples around the world. Africans today and peoples of African descent can be found on every continent, in Asia, in Europe, in the Americas. And it's important that we rethink our Pan-Africanism to be truly global. Because once we do that, we'll be able to mobilize the huge resources, cultural, economic, political, social, all these capitals can be mobilized for the transformation of this continent as well as for the well-being of African descended peoples anywhere in the world. So the challenge for you, it seems to me, apart from the demographic challenge, to ensure that your generation realizes the dreams of this continent, because you're the largest generation ever in African history, and the most educated, regardless of the challenges we face in education, is also to spearhead global Pan-Africanism. Finally, let me just share with you very briefly, for those of you who are not familiar with USIU Africa, and some of the remarks that the Dean underscored our commitment to the youth, not only the youth that we are educating on this campus, but also the youth that are not on this campus, but they are, of course, members of our society, and we as a university have to engage them in order to equip them with the skills that will enable them to be employable. Employable meaning they can get jobs, but they can also create jobs. USIU is 49 years old this year, so we are middle-aged if you use the lifespan of an individual. And we'll be 50 years next year, so our golden anniversary is coming. We take pride in being Kenya's and East Africa's first secular private university. Secondly, we take pride in the fact that we are the only university in East and Central Africa that enjoys dual accreditation. We are accredited in Kenya by the Commission for University Education, and also in the United States by the Western Association of Schools and Colleges. And it is because of that duality of our identity, institutional identity, that we are able, I believe, to combine what I like to call the best of American and the best of African higher education systems. And it is because of that we are able to attract students from around the world. We are the most international university in this region. We have students from about 75 countries, from Asia, from Europe, from the Americas, and of course on our own beloved continent, from Algeria to South Africa, Egypt to Zimbabwe. So in terms of our, the quality of our education, because of that history, because of that, the systems of accreditation, we believe it is among the very best in this region. We have currently 6 schools, the oldest being our School of Humanities and Social Sciences that offers degrees at the bachelor, master's, and doctoral levels. And then, of course, our second school, but the largest now in terms of student enrollment, is our School of Business that also offers degrees at the 3 levels. And then in recent years, we have established other schools. And these will be the schools that will be growing much faster than the 2 already established schools. One is the School of Science and Technology, which you were talking about innovation and all that. That involves science and technology. And we're investing heavily in that area because Africa needs innovation, needs science, technology, engineering, and the other areas that inform innovation, entrepreneurship, and so on. And then several years ago, 5 years ago, we established the School of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, which also is expanding because our continent needs to pay attention to health issues. And therefore, our universities have to provide training for people in the health fields. And then this year, or rather last academic year, the years sometimes overlap, we created 2 new schools. One is the School of Graduate Studies, Research and Extension, that Professor Njuguna is the dean of, and he and his team are doing a fantastic job in terms of promoting research on this at this university among students and faculty, as well as, of course, standardizing and improving our credit programs, and of course, extension, reaching out to government, to private sector, to the community, intergovernmental agencies, international financial institutions. For example, recently the program that he was talking about is funded by the World Bank in conjunction with the Kenyan government. And we also signed recently a major grant with the African Development Bank to provide coding skills for the youth. We are one of 5 institutions in Kenya and the 5 countries in the continent selected by the African Development Bank to set up centers of excellence to do this. Because the ADB realizes, like all of us do, that the youth have to be equipped with the right skills so that this continent moves forward. And then, of course, finally, one of our new schools, also established last year, is the School of Communication, Cinematic, and Creative Arts. Let me conclude my remarks by just making one point about development. In my own work, I do a lot of work on development issues, economic history, and all that stuff. If you read the development literature, there's a lot of debate why some countries develop and others don't seem to. Why, for example, Korea, which in 1960, its per capita income was not different from Kenya, from Ghana, and so on. But today, it is a highly developed country. There's been a lot of debate about issues of development. Why do some people develop? And of course, you get all sorts of explanations. Some people give geographical explanation. Where you are located, the weather, all that stuff. Others give cultural explanations. Your culture, and so on and so forth. Some people's culture automatically leads to development. Others, they are doomed to permanent underdevelopment because of their culture. And then, of course, others talk about, these days people don't want to mention what I'm going to say, but it's coded. They talk of race. What do you expect? These are Africans. Europeans are the top, Asians, Africans are the bottom, and so on. Very racialist explanations. As I said, nobody makes those arguments as explicitly as they used to, but they still come in very coded language. Now, if you look at all these things, the same arguments why Africa is not developed were being used about Korea 50 years ago. Same arguments were being used about China. In other words, environmental or geographic, cultural, racial arguments do not explain development. What explains development are a number of some key features of society. And I'll just isolate 2. One is the quality of your institutions. And by quality of institutions, I'm talking about all your key institutions, your political institutions, your judicial institutions, your social institutions. How strong are they? And that also involves behaviors. What Professor Njuguna was saying. When we say we're going to be at 9 o'clock and we start at 11, it is speaking to the quality of our institutions and behaviors. There is nothing cultural about it. It is peasant behavior. It is behavior when societies depended on the sun to know what the time is. Now, all of us in this room have multiple gadgets to tell us the time. So it's not absence of time. It's because the quality of our institutions encourages that behavior and doesn't penalize it. The second dynamic that is absolutely critical is, of course, the quality of your human capital. Education comes in there. Health comes in there. And Africa is making strides, of course, in terms of education, but we still lag awfully behind the rest of the world. Right now, Africa, in terms of universities, the proportion of young people 18 to 24 that are enrolled in universities is about 20%. The average for the world is 33%. The average for the developed countries is 60%. If you compare Kenya and Korea, which, as I said, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, were about the same. Kenya's enrollment ratio for tertiary education is less than 10%, about 7 to 8%. Korea is 80%, 10 times more. Those are the issues, those are the questions that your generation has to address. Once again, thank you for coming, and I wish you success in your deliberations.
One more round of applause for our Vice Chancellor. Thank you very much. And without wasting time, we are going to invite one kind of a man. I don't know how to introduce Nottingham, an executive certificate in climate change and energy policy from Harvard University, Kennedy School of Government. What an achievement, and he's still young, and he's still yet to inspire you, and he's so many more to go. You can get the book, it's outside there. With a round of applause, please welcome the one, the only, Dr. Richard Onana.
Thank you very much, Kelly, for the introduction. The Dean of the School of Graduate Studies, Research, Professor Juguna, the Chairman of the Hoja Youth Summit, and the entire team, thank you all very much for not just organizing this, but organizing this around a theme that is not just timely, but a theme whose time has come. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is a great pleasure to be with you here today. But if I was to reiterate what Professor Juguna said and what the Vice Chancellor said, it is not the many that matters, but it is the few that are dedicated that can be able to do things differently. So your presence here today, it doesn't matter whether the room is full or not. What this shows is that the few dedicated can be able to do things differently. So I therefore ask you to turn to the person next to you and tell him or her, I am Africa's now and not just Africa's tomorrow. Tell the person seated next to you that I hold the key to a prosperous Africa. Clap for yourselves, please. Thank you very much. It is the young trees that make up the forest. The significance of these wordings of this proverb tells us one thing. It speaks of your significance as African youth. It speaks as your significance of African youth. And it tells us one thing. It tells us that Africa's transformation cannot be accomplished without you, the youth. It tells us that the transformation of this continent will not be accomplished without you. You seated here today, together with your counterparts across the entire African continent, bear the solutions to the challenges that Africa has faced year after year. You are the solution providers. You are the tip of the spear that can tear down any challenge that this continent faces today. You are the solutions not just to Africa, but to the entire world. So the message is simple. You can no longer become just a footnote in the chronicles of Africa's development. You can no longer just become a word endlessly quoted anytime. You must be able to take charge. You can no longer be a statistic endlessly quoted. It is time for you, the youth, to arise and be heard. And this summit here today provides you with that opportunity to do so. Many are called, but few are chosen. Just take a moment and imagine how much 720 million is. Just a moment. Just imagine how much 720 million is. 720 million. Imagine the combined power of 720 million people. 720 million youthful people in the African continent today. The unity of purpose and mind, the skills, the talents, the intellect, the sheer energy of 720 million people working together towards a shared end makes them unstoppable. No one can stop 720 million people. With 720 million people, you can achieve everything. Everything literally. This is the power you, the youth, will. 720 million youth in the continent today. 720 million youth in the continent today. You will power at 60% of Africa's 1.2 billion. 1.2 billion, 60% of these being youthful. You can simply be unstoppable in driving Africa's transformational change. As Nelson Mandela would put it, we must use time wisely, and wherever we arrive, that the time is always right to do right. Yes, we have the time, but we think that we have time more than anyone. As Professor Jugona would say, as I was discussing with him when we met this morning, there is this word called African time. It is outdated, and you, the youth, should be able to shun it and tell the entire continent that Africa time doesn't exist. We have 24 hours each and every day, and each and every one of us, whether you're a prime minister, whether you're a president, each and every one of us have 24 hours. That means that we have 24 hours, and if you were to multiply this, because we know that 60 minutes, 60 seconds makes 1 minute, and 60 minutes makes an hour. So we're talking 3,600 seconds. If you multiply that by 24, you're talking about 84,600 seconds. And if you multiply that by 365 days a year, each and every one of us here have over 31.5 million. But if you were to utilize this time effectively, and if you were to multiply 31.5 million seconds with 720 million youthful population in the African continent today, we're talking over 22 trillion seconds that the continent have got. What else can we not achieve in the world today? Africa can achieve anything. Africa can be able to utilize time to achieve everything. And therefore, the complaining of each and everything that happens, thinking that things will change, you, the youth, must be able to reverse that, because complaining is not a strategy. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, you, the youth, are the majority in the continent. You are the majority in the continent, and in the next 17 years, you will be reaching, the youth in this continent will be reaching working age will exceed the rest of the entire globe and will continue so till the end of the century. You hold the biggest stake. You hold the greatest interest in Africa's prosperity for a long time to come. Simply put, you stand to gain the most for the longest time in Africa's prosperity. You stand to gain the most. If Africa prospers today, you benefit. You are the generation. You are the constituent of the continent that can be able to benefit more than any other generation that has ever existed. The converse is also true. You stand to lose the most if Africa fails. This is the reason why we are here today, to discuss issues not like ever before, because the continuous discussion of issues and talking about what happened in the 60s today, the same way we cannot be able to expect a different result. Just imagine in an Africa where 240 million citizens go to bed hungry, and where over 50% of mothers bury their beloved children before the age of 5 due to malnutrition. You, the youth, must join compatriots across the entire continent today and be helped in driving solutions that will eradicate the shame of hunger that has become the face of Africa, and it is long overdue. In an Africa where economic productivity is 20 times less than that of developed regions, you, the youth, must join compatriots across the entire continent today and be helped in building world-creating enterprises and industries. In an Africa where annual post-harvest losses exceed the continent's food import bill by over 10 billion US dollars, you, the youth, must join compatriots across the entire continent and be heard in creating competitive enterprises along the entire agro-value chain that will turn these losses into income opportunities. In an Africa where, as we're speaking today, many of the youth are buried under the Mediterranean Sea. Some are crossing the Sahara Desert and being sold into slavery. In an Africa where each and every year 12 million youth are getting into the labor market to compete only with 3 million jobs. That literally means every month 1 million youth get into the labor market and competing with less than 250 jobs, with millions crossing and looking for opportunities elsewhere, or in search of green pastures. You, the youth of the African continent today, must be heard. You must be heard in creating economic opportunities right here on African soil. In Africa, as we speak today, where climate change, the elephant in the room, is already redefining the contours of this continent more dramatically than any other, shrinking the economies of developing countries, with most countries in the African continent today. You, the youth, must be heard, not only in complaining, but in dividing solutions, using innovations to be able to change and seize the opportunities that the changing climate presents today. In an Africa where we talk of lack of resources, where each and every year 68 billion is lost as a result of ecological degradation. Money being lost that could be used to build infrastructure, that could be used to be able to enhance healthcare, that could be used to enhance and ensure that schools are built. The continent urgently needs this. You, the youth, must be heard in devising solutions that can be able to cut these losses. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, and the time for you to be heard is now. It's not tomorrow. It's not in the afternoon. It is now, right here, this morning. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about you, but I draw significant personal encouragement from this state of affairs. I draw significant personal encouragement from this state of affairs. Challenges are opportunities in disguise. It tells me one thing, that Africa is the place to be if you want to build yourself. These challenges that I've enumerated tells me one thing. It tells me that Africa is a place to be if you want your talents, your skills to count. It tells me one thing, that Africa is a place to be if you want your dreams and you want to see those dreams come to fruition. It tells me that you are in the right place if you want your life to count. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, do not look where you fell, but where you sleep. This African proverb tells us one thing. It tells us that as citizens of this beautiful African continent, and of course of the entire global community, we must undertake an analysis of where we missed it. We must undertake an analysis of where we missed it. Because this is quite very, very important. We as Africans must do a thorough soul searching. We must do a thorough soul searching to know how is it that despite the fact that Africa is the most resource continent on earth, we end up last. We end up last in the economic ladder. This soul searching is quite very, very vital. And today, you seated here today must be able to come up with answers. You must be able to interrogate this like never before. It can no longer be business as usual. It must be business unusual. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I say this because the devastating challenges that are enumerated, whether it is that of hunger, as a result of post-harvest losses that no one cares about sometimes, to kids being buried as a result of lack of nutritious food, to lack of jobs and opportunities with youth wandering across and going and burying themselves and crossing the Sahara Desert in search of opportunities. These devastating challenges must be solved. And those solutions will not come from elsewhere. They will come from you. They will come from you. But in a continent that is blessed, not only blessed in terms of resources, you, the youth, the most sovereign capital that places us at the cusp of reaping a demographic dividend. We lived in the world's second largest continent that has got everything that we need to be able to take center stage and even be the first in the realms of economic development. Africa holds a huge proportion of the world's resources, both renewable and non-renewable. I'm talking of about 30% of the world's mineral reserves, among key ones being 40% of gold, up to 90% of chromium and platinum, largest cobalt, diamond, and uranium reserves, in addition to significant quantities of oil and natural gas. These minerals that drive major economies across the globe, including telecommunications. These minerals are used not only for telecommunications, for defense, for aviation, for energy, all which contribute to over 74 trillion world global economy. However, despite this comparative advantage that Africa has got, all 54 countries in this continent represent just 1.5% of this global economy. Beyond these renewable resources, there are non-renewable resources. Beyond these non-renewable resources, Africa holds 65% of the world's uncultivated arable land, yet 240 million go to bed hungry. Unacceptable. This is the biggest travesty that I've ever heard and seen. And we cannot sit here as youth without coming up with solutions. Solutions are not complaints. Solutions should be a way different to do things differently. And solutions will need time. Solutions will need sacrifice. Solutions are not about making money only. Solutions are about taking time, doing things, and forever recognizing that the time to do right is now, because Africa's problems have reached fever pitch. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, this continent cannot continually be discussed from the perspective of poverty. We can't make poverty a museum. This continent cannot be discussed from the perspective of lack amidst plentiful opportunities. That is unacceptable. And each and every one of us will give an account of how we utilize what we have, which is us, to tell not just the narrative, but to do what we can do in ways never seen before. These renewable resources once again position Africa with a significant comparative advantage in leading the globe towards transitioning to low emission. We're talking of clean energy, 365 days of sunshine. Nowhere in the world but in this African continent, yet we have 620 million citizens energy impoverished, without electricity, unacceptable. And we cannot proudly discuss these things happily, but anger will not change anything. But it is our actions towards providing solutions to these that will matter. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, the soul searching I am talking about must then lead us to a state of being where we are ready to do what it takes, where we are ready to reverse this dismal state of affairs. A total and honest soul searching will lead us to one conclusion. A total and honest soul searching will lead us to one conclusion: why Africa is taking last in every development or economic round. It will lead us to one conclusion: Africa's prioritization of material and financial resources over human capital. Africa's prioritization of pricing how deep someone's pockets are instead of the value they espouse is what is costing this continent. Pricing how much your pockets are as compared to what a human being intelligent can be able to offer. Bringing others down rather than lifting above. Reversing progress rather than actually pulling forward to be able to address challenges. Spending time complaining. Indulging in disloyalty and treachery rather than commitment to service to continent and addressing challenges. The soul searching brings us to one conclusion: enriching pockets, prioritizing material and financial resources over us human capital. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, we must be able to turn this in this summit here today. It is turning us into a continent, because this attitude is turning us into a continent of dependence instead of a continent of problem solvers. We must become solution providers rather than complainers in chief. We must become solution providers rather than prioritization of resources and thinking only how we can make our pockets get enriched. It is this kind of attitude is turning us into a passive recipient of what others have done, instead of being an increasingly responsible citizenry that produces goods and services that act to safeguard the continent's interest in a highly competitive global space. All this needs to change, And the answer lies in what money can buy. The answer lies in you and me. The answer lies in what money can buy. It lies in you and me. I am talking about passion. Money cannot buy passion. Money cannot buy dedication. Money cannot buy attitudes. The attitude that we have 60 hours a day instead of 24 hours, it's an attitude that doesn't need money, doesn't need any skills or talent to change that. It's an attitude that must be shown away. It's an attitude that we have more time than anyone in the world. But these ingredients that are actually ingrained in each and every one of us, passion, dedication, determination, a resilient way of doing things, being hopeful, being humble, and being ready to learn and continuously learn. These critical ingredients are overlooked anytime because we prioritize material and financial resources. Human capital embodies this value. This is what we need today, and this is what those who have succeeded before us did. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, these values are being overlooked today. These qualities are being overlooked, but they're latent in each and every one of us. And they're the key that can be able to truly move Africa and make Africa rise without leaving anyone behind. They are the key to ensure Africa's leverage a competitive advantage, to build globally competitive enterprises that will unlock inclusive wealth and realization of the Sustainable Development Goals. These qualities are the foundation of progress in any venture of life. Whether you like it or not, truth be told, Africa will never ever rise for real without the embodiment of these values. Africa will not rise when we keep discussing about material resources without actually interrogating to answer the question, which today we found the answer. The answer lies in you and me. It lies in us re-engineering and reigniting the passion in us, the determination, the resilience, and being hopeful and humble and ready to learn. Those values cannot be bought with money. And those values are the values that can be able to take anybody, anywhere on this planet to achieve anything. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, the paradox is that while we keep discussing these issues, we forget these little aspects that lie dormant in us. But as I said, they can never be unlocked with money. No amount of material can be able to unlock these latent qualities. But society has placed a lot of premium on money, on material. No salary, no amount of financial and material compensation can ever unlock these critical qualities that I've mentioned. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I know that others will be asking the question, what can unlock these qualities in a human being? The answer is simple: finding purpose. You must find your purpose. And once you find your purpose, you can be able to apply this purpose in a way that can be able to drive transformational change. Once we do and apply our purposeful pursuit, expressed through our disciplines, regardless of what we do, it doesn't matter. You don't need to be a PhD to make change. You don't even need to have a degree to make change. You don't need to have written 500 articles to make change. You don't necessarily need to write a book to make change. You don't need to go to Harvard University to make change. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, utilizing your skills and talents and building on what we have in abundance is how we can be able to truly drive transformational change. And no one will do it. You, the youth, are the solution providers. You are the engines that can be able to propel Africa forward by changing these mindsets. Just consider the cocoa value chain. For instance, here Africa holds a significant global competitive advantage as the largest producer of cocoa. Africa is the largest producer of cocoa beans. It's also in a sector, the agricultural sector, where Africa holds a competitive advantage, employing over 70% of the entire workforce. But if you look at what is happening in the cocoa value chain, the continent is only benefiting 2%. Because if you look critically, the chocolates, arguably, the most lucrative derivative of cocoa, the continent, the entire globe earns 100 billion every year. Of this amount, Africa gets a dismal 2%. This means that Africa has the opportunity to enhance its competitiveness. Africa gets a dismal 2%, meaning that 98 billion doesn't come into the continent. That means Africa is sweating as well as it's sweet. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, Africa is exporting jobs and importing unemployment. And this draws from basic economics. If you produce and you don't add value, if you produce and you don't add value, you can never ever develop. The shortest way for Africa to be able to transform, to lift the million from the bottom of the pyramid, is to add value to what it produces. Africa must be able to add value to what it produces. Because we know that any business, any economy, what is so tries first and foremost on turning its areas of competitive advantage into competitive edge to pull ahead of competition. I hear many saying that they want to build helicopters and build aeroplanes and build cars. Africa will not compete with Japan in manufacturing cars. Africa will not compete with South Korea in manufacturing cars. That is not an area of competitive advantage. You can only compete from your competitive advantage area of strength. Africa's competitive advantage is in the area of agriculture, but not agriculture about production, but about adding value and expanding the entire agro-value chain. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, Africa holds the competitive advantage of being the global leader in cassava production. It is not only about cocoa. The crop is not only climate resilient to stand out as strategic for climate proofing. Our economy is fuels one of the most lucrative food subsectors. Globally, the allergen-free food crops that is projected to generate over 20 billion each and every year. But will Africa tap into it? Not necessarily. We spend time complaining. Spend time talking about things that were talked in 1960 with no solutions. The solutions to the problem today will not come from someone, but will come from you. It is not just about cocoa and cassava value chain, but about the entire agro sector. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, the productivity of what the continent has got in abundance is not about agriculture per se. It is about multidisciplinary collaboration. And as we do this, an intriguing African proverb tells us one thing: that cross a river in a crowd and the crocodile won't eat you. What this is telling us is that leveraging on Africa's sovereign capital, the youth, the African people, and especially you, the youth, and the purposes, the skills, the talent that you present, building on ongoing initiative, because sometimes the continent speaks. We talk as if there is nothing happening in the African continent. That's not true. We despise ourselves as if we need to start from scratch, and I can tell you, in an enlightened African proverb, that those who are born on an anthill will grow tall faster than any other. That means we must build on what we have. We must build on what we have. And leveraging on what we have, our skills, our talents, our ongoing initiative, will optimally help us to engage and maximize what we have in abundance. But this calls for a different philosophy and a different way to do things. It calls for a paradigm shift. A paradigm shift that is premised on a very simple idea. An idea that individualism will not take us anywhere, but collectivism is what we must embrace. And this is the essence of innovative volunteerism. Innovative volunteerism is premised on a very simple idea. Engaging the entirety of Africa's human capital, you and me, your skills, your talents, the entirety of Africa's human capital in its diversity, towards a shared goal of capitalizing on Africa's competitive advantage. It's agricultural sector, across the entire agro-value chain, harnessing clean energy to add value. But this paradigm shift is well embedded in African culture. It's leveraging on African culture. It's embedded in African culture and appreciated the world over. That of divesting from individualism to embrace collectivism, of banishing selfishness to embrace selflessness, of instilling hopefulness in people and keeping away hopelessness, of ensuring that we can be able to lift one another up, of banishing treachery and disloyalty and embracing commitment and believing in ourselves. First of all, believe in yourself. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, this is the philosophy and the paradigm behind innovative volunteerism. It is the philosophy and paradigm behind innovative volunteerism where your skills, your experiences and talents, your networks and initiatives of diverse complementary stakeholders become the premium that you have, that you can be able to utilize to achieve anything, anywhere on this earth. Truth be told, only you can make a difference. Others can only support you. But if you're not willing to get up and come to a meeting that is starting at 9, you come in at 11 o'clock, you can't be helped. It is you to make that decision. Someone can only advise you. If you think that others will lift you up without you willing to lift yourself up, I don't know what to say. But all I can say is that without further ado, I would like to leave you with practical entry points on how this can be done. And my first point, you must channel your skills to maximize what Africa has got in abundance, what I call the Africa's catalytic sectors. And I contextualize this within an African proverb. As Chinua Achebe will say, proverbs are the palm oil of which words are eaten. Yes, you eat them. Eat these words and wisdom that have been passed to today with these words that birds sing, not because they have answers, but because they have songs. Birds sing not because they have answers, but because they have songs. This African proverb reminds us that we should never shy away from stepping up to the plate, because we also know that he who fears the sun would never become chief. Responsibility is about taking risk, and the biggest risk is not taking risk. It's not a risk for you to stand on the road when a car is coming and then it hits you. No, I'm talking about intelligent risk. I'm talking about a risk of getting up in the morning, even if you don't feel like getting up. I'm coming to attend a meeting.
It's a great opportunity that everyone is following us. Followers for the next 4 days will be here. Until the 27th of October, we will be having people from across different divide, from those who have experience to those who have initiatives, ideas, to network with each other and bring up to the next level. We are running away from conferences that just talk for the sake of money, for the sake of spending, for the sake of having resolutions in the shelves. Africa, as Dr. Richard Munang told us earlier today, who is one of our keynote speakers, is that Africa has the best policies on earth, but implementation is the problem. And we are here spending our 4 days to make sure that we get to see how we can implement those through the agenda of commitment. The last thing I will say here is that we are planning the Hoja Youth Summit 2019. We have 3 candidates to host it, so we might potentially the African University in Zimbabwe, the Leadership Academy in Kigali, and the Technical University in Malawi. So you can see already in 1 year of planning and in 1 year of just doing this, we already have 3 major countries and 3 major candidates to host. While Kenya is also there, USIU also still want to host this, and we are very appreciative of having this around here. So keep in touch with us, and we will make Africa proud, not by the words, by the actions. Thank you.